when I was at the White House 2.5 years ago, we had the CEOs of all the AI companies, the hyperscalers, and I was in the room and really listening to people talk about, I'm going to add a gigawatt here and 5 gigawatts there. And nobody thought about it from an energy perspective, as I'm not a data scientist or a software engineer, but I kept counting the gigawatts, and they're just not there. They weren't, our grid can't manage it. The United States does not have that kind of power infrastructure, nor a system that can build it quickly. So at TWG now, I've been trying to continue that work that I did in the government of seeing how do you manage the power issues. And we have a lot of bottlenecks in the energy system in the United States, from availability of pipeline infrastructure to building additional transmission and just generation of power. So I think the exciting part is that there's a lot to invest in at the moment, and we're going to need billions and billions of dollars of investment, but we're going to have to do it in smart ways. You can't do it everywhere. It's difficult to move molecules or electrons, so it's probably we have to think about a strategy about co-locating investment for energy generation and data centers at the same time. But if you count up the amount of data center capacity, compute capacity, that is counted in power units, and you add that up, it comes to astronomical numbers for energy addition on systems in the United States that have traditionally been very slow to add any capacity.
I think you speak to the problem really well, Amos, because of course compute demand is rising, the energy demand is rising in parallel, but at the same time as well, a big question right now about what is actually investable in this space. So how are you thinking about that problem, and where can you actually deploy capital?
So I think one of the challenges is that software companies or intelligence companies are not power people, they're not energy people. So the realization that's happened over the last 12 months, I think, is that the tech giants have realized we need to understand power. So I think where the money, the smart money can go, is investing in building out power generation and figuring out how to do it differently. So part of it is on the grid and some of it's going to have to be behind the meter, and to be able to connect natural gas and renewables and battery storage and having that combined power. There's a lot of area to invest there if you can make it seamless and efficient for data centers. It's also going to cost more, and obviously the tech companies are willing to pay more. And so we have to be mindful that we don't invest in the power sector in such a way that increases prices for ordinary consumers, that will create a backlash that we're already seeing in the United States against data centers. So we have to pour a lot of money into it, but it's incumbent on us to do it really smartly. If we do it wrong, we're going to get a public reaction against everything.
You also think quite deeply about the geopolitical matrix of all of this as well. We're seeing significant investments coming out of the United States, but also heavy investments from the Asian markets, including China. Who's winning the race right now?
Well, I think the U.S. is winning currently the race on AI, on advanced chips, on frontier models. And part of it is because of the more open architecture system of innovation. And that's what's really been the secret sauce of the United States for so long, is there's no fear of giving the power of AI to the people, where I think in China, in a closed system, there's a little bit more fear of giving that power to the people. But look, China is ahead of the United States and ahead of the world in areas like electric vehicles and in solar manufacturing production and some AI applications. This is a close race. The most staggering part of it is, though, that there's really the United States, close second in China, and there's no close third. And if there is a third, it's UAE. It is not Europe, it's not France, it's not the UK, it's the United Arab Emirates, which surprises most people. But the amount of investment that they're doing here, they may not be ahead in the development of the technology, but the adaptation, they're ahead of the United States. So you look at UAE and Singapore and how they're adapting to the use of AI to support economic benefits, they're great. But right now, the US is ahead, but we can't rest at all. The Chinese are putting enormous amounts of money and effort and smarts into being able to win that race. And I think that's going to define the rest of the 21st century.
The rest of the 21st century, extraordinary. You mentioned the role of the Middle East, of course. Energy-rich nations in the Gulf, including the UAE, are already a leader in this space. Can the UAE and others be a leader in AI?
So I think that originally we thought because you have cheaper energy and cheaper land, you're the landman of the AI, basically, right? I can give you those cost-free benefits. I think the difference in UAE and some of the rest of the Middle East, where that is true, is that they've integrated artificial intelligence into their school, into their government, into their space. So the country's running on AI. So they are doing it differently. But I think what they also have, you look at the amount of investment that is coming into the United States from the UAE, from Saudi, into the AI business, into the energy for AI, the announcement that ADNOC made with Microsoft, that is happening in the United States. That's not the negotiation that I was part of, Microsoft and G42 here a couple of years ago to build data centers in UAE. This is about building energy products and into AI in the United States. So I think that is quite remarkable, not what we would have expected a few years ago, but that collaboration between the US and UAE and the Gulf in general, I think is one of the key parts for the US to maintain that lead over China. We have to have partners, we have to have support, and I think that the Middle East is becoming one of the most important partners, more so than any other region in the world.
And this is something that I hear consistently as well. It's also something that the Trump administration has been praised for. There's a lot that President Trump is getting right. What is he getting wrong?
Well, first, I think I was the first to say that the deal that they did with the United Arab Emirates on chips and with Saudi is the right approach. We have to have a partnership here, and I trust the work with UAE. I have to verify. There are national security implications, and we have to raise concerns directly and openly. So I think that the Trump administration did it right with that deal. I think everything is about the implementation. I don't know what's happening since the big announcements, and I've learned a long time, not just Trump administration, but all administrations, don't look at the announcements, wait 6 months and tell me what's actually happened. When people say we're going to get $500 billion, $1 trillion in investments, let's count the dollars and see how many of those deals are announcing old deals again, how much of that is new. So I think the time will tell if we're able to deliver on it. But I think it's ultimately good for the United States if those deals happen.